Quiet on the set. In the Know Women Show. Take one. Action.
Hello, I'm Darleen Adkins, your host today for this episode of In the Know Women Show. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to work in front of or behind the camera? Today's guests will walk us through this riveting and fun endeavor, helping us understand the magical art of filmmaking, how one might become involved, and how to enjoy opportunities to see unique films here locally. Welcome, filmmaker Janice Liu and actress Isabel Nixon-Klein. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you, Darleen. It's a pleasure to be here.
Let's start with you, Janice. Can you tell us a little bit about the organization you're affiliated with here?
I've only been in Olympia since 2016. And when I was pushing my I don't know, 1-year-old at that time, in downtown Olympia, I chanced upon the Capitol Theater, and Audrey Henley happened to be coming out and just told me about it. And it wasn't until like a year later where I saw the call for like board directors, and I was like, oh, I've been here for a year. I've meant to come down here. And then that's when I got really involved, and I was a secretary for 2 years. This is my 3rd year as a board member, and I think it is really amazing that Olympia has a historic theater that's like vaudeville. And a vaudeville theater is very interesting because it means it has the orchestra pit. It means that you have you can do concerts. Really big concerts have happened in Olympia, and at the same time, it's perfect for like film festivals too. I've had the privilege of having a film that I made with the other local filmmaking organization, the Olympia Film Collective.
Right, and then you're also now affiliated with the Olympia Film Collective. And let me bring Isabel in and talk a little bit about that too, because you just wrapped up a film, is that right?
Yes, I was recently just a part of a short film with the Olympia Film Collective. That was directed by Patrick Feifelsky. It was my first production with him in the Olympia Film Collective. We filmed that just a couple weeks ago, actually. It was a really fun experience. The short film was, it's not a fun short film. It's about a stalker and a girl.
Is this a spoiler alert?
No, this is the beginning of the film.
Nice.
And I play the girl. So it's a little intense at times, but those are some of the funnest things to play off of when you're an actor, is those intense moments, because it's just something you don't experience a whole lot in real life. And so to act it out it's really fun. It's really fun to do odd things, isn't it? Yeah, so that was a really fun production with the Olympia Film Collective, and I'm really excited to get into more stuff with the Oli Film Collective. I think it's a great opportunity for people in Olympia.
Janice, let's go back, maybe way back.
Way back.
Yeah, you are a filmmaker. Could you tell us a little bit about where you studied filmmaking?
Oh, yeah, sure I can do that. I studied filmmaking at New York Film Academy. This was in 2010, I think, because I'm from Singapore. Let's begin with that. I'm from Singapore, and there I went to college and I studied law. And the only thing I really cared about was intellectual property law. Back then, I was the president of the Film Society. Back then, I did not know why we needed to make any money. I resented the idea that any money was made. I was like, we have free movies and free food and free popcorn. Everyone should come. And we had a great mailing list, but no actual money. Anyway, that's college.
Side notes.
But thereafter, I went to New York Film Academy because that's what I wanted to do all my life, to do some amount of film. I don't know if anyone knows this, but Singapore in the 1960s used to be a really major, it was a major cinema. Like they had musicals, and like in the region they had Indonesian writers, they had Malay actresses, and so once upon a time I lived somewhere where there was film everywhere, but I just lived in entirely the wrong period, because thereafter they shut all those productions down and there was no film at all in Singapore. So I figured, New York, because I didn't want to drive in LA.
It's a good reason not to go to LA.
Right?
Yeah.
So I did a year there in the cinematography program, And then while I was there, I was on every set I could be on. I was on a Foo Fighters music video as a PA, but I ended up being like in it for a second as like a stand-in, so you can see my hand in one of them, and I was super excited about that.
What music video? Now I'm gonna have to go and watch it.
It's called Arlandia.
Oh my gosh.
I'm
gonna have to write that down.
Yeah, it was super fun, and I was on a bunch of like other like music video shoots. Like if you listen to Sirius XM, there's this guy called Torre on it now, and he was one of the people who was having a shoot, and it was just one, the thing you'd expect, right? Everyone there, I mean, like there are large guys with grills, and then there are also like the voluptuous people like at the end of it, and then there's like a couple of guys singing, and they have like a room full of girls, like typical stuff, and at a golf course. I mean, just what you expect.
And you didn't have any difficulty with that kind of atmosphere?
It was interesting.
Yeah.
I guess I guess the thing about it is, right, it does take a real audacity to make that really wrong. I mean, it takes a real because even if you do have more interesting elements around, and like a more like it doesn't mean that I think it takes like a real failure of like production or like a real power play for that to end badly or make you feel really uncomfortable, because a lot of it is just like the lifestyle that develops around the way certain films are made.
Let me ask you, Isabel, about your acting experience. So when she's describing these sets and the people in the sets and the stars, what do you think about from your acting experiences?
Well, I love theater and acting and film because artists come in all different shapes and sizes, and everyone is completely different. And that's what makes a good piece of art, in my opinion, is people from completely different backgrounds, people who are completely in a different world than you are. Absolutely 100%. Because if we didn't have that, then the art we'd be seeing would just be the exact same thing over and over again, right? So I think different people on different sets and different atmospheres are the perfect thing to create art. It's the perfect environment for it, I grew up in a very, very small town out in the middle of nowhere in rural America. And there was one theater in the next town over, 15 minutes. And it was a very small theater. There was a core group of people who tried to run it. There's not a lot of money in this theater. There's leaks in the roof. There still are to this day. And I grew up in the children's theater there. I started acting there when I was 5. And I have been acting there I acted there for years and years and years. And slowly I worked my way out of the children's program, and then I started helping to run the children's program. And then I acted in, and from there on in, I jumped from thing to thing to thing, and I used those stepping stones from community theaters up until some paid gigs. And everyone you meet is very different, which I think is one of the key pieces to being an artist, is to be unique and passionate.
Yeah, wonderful. So, did you study anything in high school or in college?
I was homeschooled, so my structure of school is very different compared to everyone else's who I knew. The things I liked to study were the things I liked, and those things were theater and film. So. Instead of having classes about those, I would go out and try and get real life experience. That's what I would prefer to do. And then, of course, on top of being in plays and making my own films when I was young, I also tried to learn as much as I could online and in workshops, sometimes traveling to Seattle to do acting workshops with Broadway coaches and really fun experiences. So in high school, I just tried to get involved as much as I could. I've only taken a few college classes for my own personal benefit. I haven't tried for a degree or anything like that yet. But they were all filmmaking classes at a community college. And I quickly realized that I was a little too involved compared to everyone else taking those beginner filmmaking classes. I don't know if you've ever been in a class where you realize that you've read this textbook before and you know everything the teacher's about to say, but that was me in all those classes. There were some times where even the teacher would look at me and they didn't have any notes for me. They would just look at me and they're like, well, You're here, I'm here, I don't have anything to say to you.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed all of them. There were definitely the ups and downs in those classes, especially coming from a homeschooling background, integrating into a regular school environment. But it was a fun experience, and I was glad I did it. I've considered going to a college for filmmaking or acting, and I think that's a really exciting possibility. But I think I want to try a little more life first before I hop into that, you know.
Gotcha. So Janice, talking about filmmaking, how do people break into that here in Olympia? Are there opportunities for people without a lot of experiences to get involved?
Yes, there are a lot of opportunities, and I think that. Well, first of all, I think that there's been a major push in all I know at least a few government agencies that tend to do like an open call for like I think the Workforce Board did one for like training kids to use some kind of career bridge program, and I know that up in Lakewood they're having an open a filmmaking weekend challenge thing, and so I think. Those competitions are always a great way to start because they typically come with some money. They come with some it's just a really interesting thing that government agencies try to make that a part of what is offered in the marketing or in the outreach or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I would say that Ollie Film, we've rebranded from the Olympic Film Collective, so now we're going by Ollie Film. That's what I've learned in my 4 months of being a board member. But my point is that Ollie Film is really, really awesome because I found them online on a Facebook group, and that weekend, or I think they were trying to put a crew together to participate in the 253 short film competition, and that's up in Tacoma, and I think it's associated with the Grand Theater there.
In Tacoma?
In Tacoma, 253. And the idea behind it is that you get together with a bunch of people on the weekend and you make a film that very weekend with the elements of the script, and it was just the best experience ever. And I would say for me especially, that was really, really important because, I have 3 children, and that means there isn't a lot of filmmaking that I can make. But over a weekend, I could do that. And I brought my kids on set to go to the location scout. Everyone was really supportive. And it was just amazing to feel that kind of support. And the other great thing about the Ollie Film is that quite often people will bring their kids in because they're interested in filmmaking too. And so that kind of really open environment is, I did not think I would get that. Just given the fact that, filmmaking is one of those industries where, male-dominated, sure, if you have, poor work-life balance, all of these things that prevent you from making film, but to be actually supported. I remember showing up on set, and I was just, lighting everything, and someone looked at me and was like, "Do you need something?" And I almost cried, because I was like, well, also because I have young children, so no one ever cares what I have.
Right.
I need, I was like, do I need something? I don't think right now, but I'll get back to you. But thank you for asking.
Oh my goodness.
And it's and I think it's things like that really, that's why you want to make film at all, because you want to be a part of a community. You want to do something cool, but you also, it really does, there's no point, it is really hard to find collaborators or people who are open and supportive and non-judgmental. And for that reason, Ollie Film is they are trying to, it's in the mission statement that they want to increase representation and diversity and make sure everyone can make film and amplify the voices of, individuals. And I find that to be, I find that to resonate with me. And I guess that's why anyone makes film in the first place, right? Because you want to make your story heard. You want to come together and make a story together. And I think so yeah, if you want to make film, definitely they're worth checking out.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You brought up kids. I'd like to talk to you both about your upbringing. We heard a little bit from you, and you can add on if you wish, Isabel, but I'll start with you, Janice, about what were those influences when you were growing up, do you think, that lent to your interest in being so creative?
I think what it was when I was like six or seven. I saw Les Miserables, and I mean, and the way everything revolves, like in a theater. It's like, I mean, I think it takes like the magical experiences like that at a young age that really show you how your imagination is fueled so much by such real, like, technological or realistic things to like make it real for you. And I think that's when I really fell in love with like creative pursuits, but beyond that, creative pursuits that were performing arts related, or the way that they really sell you this lie, you know, make you believe this world, and like, and then that's the only world that you want to keep going back to. And I think that's probably like, yeah, I was hugely into musicals, and I've loved films since I was young. I remember, I think at my 18th birthday, my dad got me a camcorder, and I remember, oh yeah, and I also like. My first boyfriend, his house was getting demolished, so I decided that what I must do is I must gather all my friends, and we must wreck his house and paint the walls with blood, and we made a zombie movie.
Oh my God. That was my first film too. It was a zombie movie.
It's a funnest thing to do.
Exactly.
The screaming.
Is it the best thing ever? Oh my God.
You know, it's really fun. Like,
It is. It's the best time.
I might have to
Do a zombie
consider
movie.
watching some more zombie movies.
Oh, they're all terrible. Don't get me wrong. You don't watch any of them, but they're so fun to make.
Yeah, they're so fun.
Yeah.
Let's talk about craft. So you just brought up fun to make. So maybe we'll start with you, Isabel, on this question of the craft of acting and any other experiences if you've had with filmmaking outside of that role too. But let's talk about that craft. How do you be a great actress in a zombie film or any others?
I think it all has to do with, well, of course, each actor has their different, process. They have their different mantras and their different philosophies. Every actor you ask is going to be slightly different. Someone's going to be completely different. I think for me, it's all about truth. It's about, if I placed myself in that character's shoes, how would I genuinely react to that? To me, if I pretend to react, then I'm pretending. I'm not acting. Pretending and acting aren't the same thing to me, right?
Wow.
Pretending is you're pretending to do something. Acting is you're feeling that thing and you are experiencing it, right? And then, the audience is in front of you and they get to experience it with you. So to me, instead of creating this mythical character, I like to draw from my own reactions to things. How would I react to that under their circumstances? And of course, those circumstances might change my reaction, but the genuine reaction is still there, right? And the response is still there. I think the craft of acting is something that is going to be completely different for each individual. I think every individual who undergoes this journey of acting is going to come out the end with a different process. I don't think one person can tell you this is how you have to act, this is how an actor works, because it's not true. It's never true with anything. There's never one formula for anything. I think also the other main thing, if you're going to be an actor, is you have to be passionate, right? That's the one thing, even with a filmmaker, right? If you're going to make a film, be passionate. Right? If there's no passion, then there's not really art involved anyways,
Well, why would you do it if you...
Why would you do it if you aren't truly passionate about it? There's no reason. Not at all.
And does passion also help with the endurance that's needed,
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a hard thing to be a filmmaker or an actor or any facet of the arts because it seems so unachievable and people will tell you it's unachievable. So right off the bat, it's a hard thing to do, let alone the actual job of being an actor or a filmmaker or a painter or anything else. So that passion is pivotal to continuing being an artist, I think. I think a true artist is born with it. You have passion for something in life and it continues on over into your work. I've watched so many films where I'm looking at the screen and the only thing I can think is, I need to fold my laundry when I get home. Because you can tell there wasn't passion in that film. You can tell there was no passion in that film. They just wanted to make a film. I think there's also a difference between being a filmmaker and a storyteller. I think some people really want to make a film, but they don't have anything to say and they don't have any passion. So yes, they are a filmmaker, but they aren't saying anything in the process, right?
So who are some of your, some of the actors or actresses that you think have the passion and the method approach to acting that you like?
That's a hard one. There's a lot, and there's also very few at the same time,
Or was there someone when you were growing up and you said, oh, I want to be like them? Because I have mine, and that's Lindsay Wagner.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the bionic woman.
Growing up, I didn't have a lot of celebrity, role models. It was mostly the people who I was around. It was the people who were at the Roxy Theater in Morton, the other artists, the small town community artists who were just always there, and they just did it. Even if they weren't good at it, they would still do it because they had a passion for it, Also my parents, because they're very artistic in their separate ways. Not necessarily in the arts, but my mother dances, and my father really likes to build things, and he's very creative in that way. So that was always fun to look up to for me. For actresses, my latest obsession is Florence Pugh. I don't know if you guys have seen a Florence Pugh film, but she was in a film in 2019, Midsummer. That was a horror film. She was incredible in that. And she was also in the recent Little Women movie. I think she's fantastic. I think some actors, when they try to portray when they're sad, you have to cry or you have to do this. And Florence Pugh picks the most universal and simple way to portray that the character is sad, and that is by a simple frown. How many actors or actresses have you seen that just frown when their character is sad? Because I can't think of any others. They always try and say some words, or they try and feel it with their eyes or some other thing. But a frown is all you need, because that's what we do when we're sad, is we frown and we're sad. And it's such a simple thing, but so many people, I think, overthink it, Also, Liza Minnelli is a great performer. I love her in Cabaret. I love to watch that film and just watch her. She's fantastic as well.
Oh, wonderful. And what about you? Are there some filmmakers out there, either growing up or now, that you say, wow, that's I admire their work?
Well, Isabel, you're just talking about Liza Minnelli, and I love her in Arrested Development. Like, Arrested Development is Ron Howard's, I don't know, rich people mockumentary, family drama, I guess. And that was I love it. I love when something is shot as fiction, but they do a genuine documentary style about it. Like, for example, this is Spinal Tap. I
did see that movie.
And there's something that really nails it about because nowadays, it happens in Modern Family, The Office, they import it and they whip between people, and I'm like, no documentarian would do that. You missed the whole scene. This is silly. Why are we doing this? Has anyone seen a documentary? And that's just one of my big pet peeves. But so when it's done well, I really love that style of filmmaking because it lends itself to comedy so well. Surf's Up. It's a penguin surfing movie for kids.
Oh my gosh, that movie is hilarious.
So good.
I rewatched that a few months ago, and I thought, that's a kid's movie. It's not going to be that good. It was really entertaining.
It was really funny. It was excellent.
It was very silly, but it was very entertaining. Yeah.
Yeah, that documentary style, I will watch anything. Oh, and by the same, so I guess I'm drawn to styles like that, but I guess my first love has always been in some way documentaries, and so when I see it spill over to the fiction world, it's exciting for me. But straight up, but my favorite director of all is Park Chan-wook. He is the one who recently won Parasite. The Oscar, but my favorite one of his was Old Boy, and it was just what was really amazing about that movie was that they couldn't have made it any better in any way. Everyone loved everything about the movie. You could see it in the art design, you could see it in the music, you could see it in the acting, you could see it in how restrained it is, how everything was perfectly orchestrated. But most of all, you could see it in so Old Boy tells the story of a man who's kidnapped and jailed for 7 years, and then he's let go again, and he has a vengeance at the end of it. He wants to know why this happened to him, right? And it doesn't hold it it makes you feel sick, but it doesn't hold back or look away from making you feel sick. And that is, I mean, that to me was, I mean, I watched that. I had a few friends over for a sleepover, and we watched Park Chan-wook's, Old Boy, and I needed to go upstairs and take a shower because I was like, I'm gonna throw up. I think it's gonna, it's really
That kind
like,
of impact.
so watch Old Boy. It's the best.
Have a bucket ready though, right?
Yeah, maybe like before dinner. Not after.
Before dinner, yeah.
If you want to never eat again, yes.
So we are coming to the end of our time on In the Know Women Show, but I'd like just to cover just a couple more things, maybe some advice you would like to give to those folks out in the audience who might be watching, who might be thinking, hey, you know, I don't know really where I fit in the filmmaking biz. Maybe I want to be an actor, maybe I want to be a filmmaker. Maybe I don't know what PA means, production assistant. You know, maybe there are other opportunities. So, Isabel, how would you advise those watching to try it out?
I would say start at whatever level you can get into. You know, community level of, you know, either filmmaking, like short film competitions or student competitions or community theaters if you want to act. Those are all great places to start because the stakes are low and they're really fun. Everyone is friendly and you learn a lot at that level. If you don't know anything, that's the perfect place to start. Online is also a great place to get involved in local things. On local Facebook groups, you can find a lot of information. I found a lot of projects there. And I would also say just try. At least try a little bit, right? Try something outside of your comfort zone because it's always going to be out of your comfort zone. And if you don't try something out of your comfort zone, then you're never going to get anywhere. So try and be passionate. That's what I would say.
All right. And how about you, Janice?
I recall being 18 and my first filmmaking weekend challenge. It was in Singapore. It's called Fly By Night, and there were only a couple of student groups there. Everyone else was professional, and it was just and so we had real Singaporean filmmakers. I think Tan Pin Pin was the main moderator, if I'm not mistaken, but and so we all got together. I mean, we basically had a sleepover for a weekend, and we were coming up with ideas, and we shot at the end, and then we realized. When we're all screening it together, by the way, because that's the end of the festival. They screen everything, and we're like, the sound is terrible. Oh my God! We thought we'd just do it in camera. Stupids!
I've been there before.
Well, the director is going to cut us off in just a few more seconds.
Okay. Well, but the last thing I wanted to say was that don't let anyone tell you no. Because many people will try to make you, especially if you're doing something hard, especially if you're doing something that they think that you are unlikely to achieve, or they think that you shouldn't achieve, or that you don't deserve. Don't let anyone tell you no. And the harder they rally against it, the more they make you feel bad. Understand that it is that they are afraid of you, that they are afraid of you being successful, that they are afraid of what you have, which is your passion. And that is your truth. And as much as people might try to lie to you about what your truth is, only you know what your truth is. And so if you hold to that and know that, you know, especially when it gets hard, it's only because what you know rings so much truer than what everyone else is saying. Mm-hmm. And that's what you must hold to, especially as a woman or, you know, I mean, or someone who's just not in the predominant mode of success that society acknowledges. So that really is the biggest thing.
Yeah, great words of advice, wisdom from Janice Liu, filmmaker here in the area, Isabel Nixon-Klein, actress as well. Thank you both for being on the show today and imparting the courage and passion to get out there and try those things. So we're wrapping up, and I'm Darleen Adkins, the host of this edition of In the Know Women's Show. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.